Hi, this is Mr. Bo from MrBoEnglish.com. We've been going through Khan Academy's quadratics unit, and we're up on the lesson in vertex form. So I'm going to talk a little bit about vertex form and remind us about parabolas and quadratics, and then we'll go through the practice. Your questions probably won't look exactly like this, but they will be the same style, slightly different numbers. So let's remember what the basics of quadratic form are. Okay, so we've got parabola, and the parabola either opens up or opens down. It's all right. I'm trying to change what I'm doing for. Trying to change what I'm doing for writing here. If we write the parabola quadratic here in standard form, it's going to look like ax squared plus bx plus c. If a is positive, it's going to go up. If a is negative, it's going to go down. We have some important points on a parabola. So just about the most important point down here at the bottom, called the vertex. Two more very important points here are x-intercepts, or called the roots, or sometimes called solutions, or called the zeros. And on the line with our vertex here, we have a line down the middle, which is called axis of symmetry. Okay, so we've learned about working with these, and we worked in factored form, like x minus 2 times x plus 5. Okay, we did that. We're going to introduce a new form, and that new form looks like this. It's called vertex form. I'm just going to write it, but I can't. I'll write it anyway. All right. The vertex form looks like a times x minus x1 squared plus y1. And if we say y is equal to that, I'm not going to use function notation. If we say y is equal to that, we get the vertex form, and then we can do something that's kind of interesting. I always want to bring myself back to our roots here. So now I have y minus y1 is equal to a times x minus x1 squared. Now that looks a lot like something else that we studied when we were doing linear. We had what was called point slope. And point slope looks like y minus y1 equals m, and m is the slope, times x minus, x1. And that is point slope. So we know one point, any point on the line, and that point is x1, y1, and we know the slope. We can easily write point slope. So if we look at point slope, we can easily know one point, and we can know the slope. And if we come over here, we can easily find this one point, x1, y1, and a, which parabolas don't have a slope, but they do have what's called concavity. So, you know, it affects the shape. It changes the shape. And what is that point? on our point slope. That can be any point, but on our vertex form, that is the vertex. That slope is the vertex. So if we can put it in this form, we can see the vertex and find out what the vertex is. So let's look back at this form. Y equals a plus x minus x1 squared plus y1. I have 3. 3 is my a. I have x minus 2 minus x1, so I know my x1 is 2 plus 4 plus y1, so I know y1 is 4. Okay, we're gonna do it again. I'm gonna write the form over here. There we go. We're already on black. Y equals a x minus x1 squared plus y1. So here I have not y, but I have function notation, g of x. Okay, 2 times x minus 3, x minus x1, so I know the vertex is at 3, and minus 8. And over here I have plus y1, so I know the vertex is at minus 8. 3 comma negative 8. So then we want to figure out what the zeros are. To find the zeros, what do? We set that equal to 0. So here I have 0 equals 2 times x minus 3 squared minus 8. I'm going to add 8 to both sides. I'm going to have 8 equals 2 times x minus 3 squared. I'm going to divide by 2 on both sides, and I'll have 4 equals x minus 3 squared. And now I'm going to take the square root of both sides, and this is going to be positive and negative square root, so I'm going to have positive and negative 2 is equal to x minus 3. I'm going to break that up into 2 and say x minus 3 equals 2. X minus 3 equals negative 2. And so that is almost there. Plus 3 on both sides. Add 3 to both sides. X equals 5 plus 3 plus 3. X equals 1. So we're going to look at those are first of all, those are the answers for the zeros, right? One of the functions zeros, and so I'm going to do that first. 1 and then of course y is 0 there. So I have these two zeros on. Let's go down here. I have these two zeros. I can't write that. Okay, first time trying this one. 2 zeros on 1 and 5, and my vertex is right down the middle there on x equals 3. Right? Here's x equals 3 for the vertex. So that line is x equals 3, and that's right in the middle. And it's 1 is 2 away from 2 away, and if we go this direction we get 2 more right in the middle, and we're 2 apart. And here is a 2. I wonder if that can help us out later. Let's look at that and then try to figure out whether that's actually that means something or not. So let me see. I need to find my my vertex is 3 negative 8, 3 negative 8, and I'm going to do one of my x-intercepts is 5. One of my zeros is 5. The other one is 1. That checks out. Okay, here we are again. Let's look at Let's look at the vertex form. Vertex form is y equals a x minus x1 squared plus y squared. Okay, so the first question is, what is the vertex of the function? So what is the vertex? We want to find the vertex. That's x1. And, man, what did I do there? x1 and y1. Okay, so x1 and y1. And I have x minus x1. Here I have x plus 4. So I know that's x minus negative 4. So I know my x1 is negative 4. Plus 1 plus y1. So I know this is 1. And what's the function's y-intercept? This is a little bit different. This asked us x-intercept before. Now it's asking y-intercept. Y-intercept is when x is equal to 0. So we're going to find the y-intercept. Y equals 0.5 times 0 plus 4 squared plus 1. And 0 plus 4 is 4. And 4 squared is 16. So now I have 0.5 times 16 plus 1. And 0.5 is half. Half of 16 is 8. 8 plus 1. 8 plus 1 is 9. So the y-intercept is at x equals 0, because it's the y-intercept, and 9. Okay. And then I want to graph the function. So now I have 2 points. And I have negative 4, 1. And I have 0 and 9. And I get this shape here. And oh, now it becomes obvious. Why did they ask us what is the function's y-intercept? Why didn't they ask what is the function's x-intercept? Let's look here. How many x-intercepts does this have? It has 0 x-intercepts. So that's why they didn't ask that question. Most of the time they ask questions. You'll see we talk about x-intercepts more than y-intercepts. So how many x-intercepts can a parabola have? It can have 0, like this one. It could have 1 if this were the vertex, or it could have 2 if it looked like that. Make sure I'm doing that right. Okay, negative 4 and 1. Okay. All right, so we're up on vertex form again. Y equals a times x minus x1 squared plus y1. And here I want to find the vertex, x minus 1. All right, so I'm going to write this in red. This one doesn't lead you step by step. Okay, so this one wants us to remember how to do the steps. Plus y plus 8. So I know my vertex is 1 and 8. And now I need to find some zeros. So I think I'm going to try to find a y-intercept here, because that's easiest for me. All right, so we'll set x equals 0, negative 2 times 0 minus 1 squared plus 8. So now I have negative 1 squared. Negative 1 squared is 1. 1 times negative 2 plus 8. That's negative 2 plus 8, or 8 minus 2, and 6. So I have 0, 6 is our intercept. So let's see if we can get that one right. 1, 8, and 0, 6. Okay, and yeah, okay, so the A is negative, so it opens down. Let's look back. We were looking at some numbers and trying to see if we could find a way to make to find the x-intercepts easier. And here we have, well, that's ugly. Here we have our parabola and our axis of symmetry. is at x equals 1. And over here we have our x-intercepts at -1 and 3. So, and then we've got -1 and 3. So we have our x-intercepts there. And let's see, this is 2 different, and this is 2 different, and that is also -2. So we'll see if this checks out. All right, that's the end of this video. We'll be doing the graphing quadratics in vertex form. Second video. There are 3 videos, I think, in this series. If you have any more questions, please get a hold of us at mrboenglish.com. Thank you very much. Mr. Bo English รับสอนนักเรียนตั้งแต่ป .3 ขึ้นไปทางอินเทอร์เน็ตในสไตล์ EP ครับผู้สนใจช่วยติดต่อครูแจงหรือไปเว็บไซต์ที่ www.mrboenglish.com